Right. After making the other video, I just saw something in the spirit plane. I had my little roach spirits again try to put me back together, my spirit team that, I'm going to get into it in a couple of minutes. They were being dominated by Santa Muerte. And I remember that night having my etheric walls torn apart. I got this mirror here a couple of weeks ago. Let me see, when did I get it? From what I recall, it was on a Monday. I saw May the 13th, which is approximate, not that far from my birthday. My birthday was the next day. I wish I didn't have all this shit on me, because I could have celebrated my birthday. I could have went downtown, chilled with a good friend of mine who lives on Skid Row. He lives in a nice apartment building, just like what I got. After consummate, which is, the word for sex, but you know how I like to use big words, complete this, whatchamacallit here, my ancestors. I got the Themes Bridge, I got the Nomos, the doggone star right here. I'm going to put the Nomos, that's the Nomos mask right there at the top. That's a doggone warrior. Igbo traditional dress. That's the pyramids from which they all hail from, our people. And on the other side, it's a shame I couldn't find anything for pink, and it's hard to emulate that color. But this is the Themes Bridge. There's a lot of my ancestors, white or British. It's funny when I hear these wetbags talk about European. You mix with the Spaniards who got raped by the Black Moors. Think of Othello, Shakespeare, the Black Moor. So, in part, which is great for me, you have nigger, or mayate, as them wetbacks like to say. You ain't white at all if you got Spanish in you. That's, them motherfuckers, get the fuck out of here. Anyways, I'm going to show you the video for True Romance at the end of this vid. So anyways, I'm going to show my ancestors over here on the white side. From what I understand, I had a relative who looks a lot like Keanu Reeves. A couple of good-looking people. Another one who looked like Tom Berenger, who I'm related to. So a slave master. I ain't gonna say who he was over, but but then again, he owned a supermarket when he was alive, so I can't put that together. In New Orleans, the slave codes were a lot more liberal. But anyways, I had him come to help and all of that, but he's French, so I can't put him in here because this is about the Brits. But I may put the Swedish ancestors who helped me, from my past life, my father and all of that, who still loves me and is mad close. With that, and I'm going to put Anubis, Nefertiti and all of that, who are part of my ancestral tribe. I'm going to show y'all the Nomos Nefertiti. There's a lot of shade and fraud that's going on. There's some weird shit that's going on. Okay, so on May the 13th, I got this. Like I said, I could have chilled. I was looking, my birthdays never go right, but I remember, chilling with a good friend of mine. He had a crush on me too. He was LGBTQ, and he saw me as a man, which I take pride in. My friend, he a free spirit, real good people, just good people on Skid Row. Anyways, it's like my old neighbor. It's like, where I used to live by First to Third. That's my old neighborhood. I know a lot of people around there, right on the Figueroa corridor. I would buy, even though I didn't have a lot of money, sex workers. I constantly, by the way, hear that Inez Arujo or, Maria Tavares, talking bad, as well as Elsie Serrano, put the number for her up here, constantly talking bad on sex workers. Anyways, and I saw a lot of, like, my consciousness removed, that's why I wear, stuff, spiritual jewelry to protect me. With that being said, couple of weeks ago, not a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, I had my consciousness, when I, first got this, removed in a huge piece of it by Santa Muerte, as well as Maria Tavares, and I heard, there's Santa Muerte, is spirit. Like I say, in another video, that higher the highest selves can act as Santa Muerte. With that being said, in the middle of the night, I had a large piece of my consciousness stolen. And I got, 4 mirrors, I've never seen where they live in there. Where they got people in these motherfuckers. When you have when you have mirrors facing each other, I used to have 2 full human athlete mirrors facing each other that creates a portal. With that being said, I started playing 1715 0 hertz to get it back, along with 1715 hertz. But you got to be particular. This is why I'm pissed off at my piece of shit spirit team, because they don't put in the work or the care. I was even told that, I felt it in the spirit plane. And I saw it, just the other day, as I was saying before in another video. I my consciousness, I don't have a body. And I kept getting removed out of my astral body the other day. I was in the astral body, then the spirit. As I said in another video the other day, you want to make sure you get what you need to get. I was using 2950 hertz, which is good, but to be accurate, that's why it's important to have in the spirit team. I was even told my spirit team just said after yesterday, where, from what I understand and what I felt this morning, I got taken into Santa Muerte's realm, my whole body, consciousness, and all, and, was told, and I felt it while I was in the bathtub a couple of minutes ago. I even see her at night over there. And a lot of times out of the bathroom, I once grabbed and nearly choked her, that I ain't got time for this shit, you tope ass motherfucker. Saw her right here. And I noticed weird things with the lightning, like it inexplicably dimming at times and all of that. With that being said, she stole a significant part of my consciousness. And I was told my spirit team just wrote me off. Like, oh, she was sacrificed. Well, what kind of shit? But anyways, I woke up that morning to feel my spirit team, my higher the highest self, along with my connection to my God self, which is my dad, Napoleon Williams Jr. here. Michael, they nearly got wiped out a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to get them back. Now I feel a lot. I feel a lot better all of a sudden. Anyways, with that being said, I felt her coming in and trying to take over from the back and trying to cover that. And so with that being said, I saw her covering my consciousness and manipulating my spirit team. Like I said, I come from New Orleans. Most, if I'm covered by anything, would be Baron Samedi or Satan. That's who I fuck with back in the day. Not that type of bullshit. Satan is he actually is. I found out during this spiritual experience, well, this curse, he did exist. And he is a, whatchamacallit. It's funny how I had that, now I got it face now. I had it up like a pentagram. He actually is, in fact, a fallen angel. And they formed the Shaitan of Islam. That's why they have a separate realm called Kaf. That's why they come from smoke. Just like your boy in my most auspicious video game ever. Well, actually, that's Killer Instinct. Smoke in Mortal Kombat. And it's funny, I feel like I'm in a different whole timeline, because when I was looking up the realm they derived from, it's different. From what I remember, it was Kaf, Q-A-F, and it's called something else in this timeline. I've been seeing a lot of weird shit, that's why I want to get back to blogging and all of that. I don't have time for this shit. I need to just, like I said, I just want to be particular about getting back what I need. And I just, need to blow the horn and just do what I got to do, Anyways, with that being said, I'll get intimidated from playing Frequency and all of that by Maria Tavares taking over. So I got to be careful. With that being said, like I said, I just need to just play free, just get back my shit. Fuck it. With that being said, I saw her removing my etheric walls after she took a large piece of my consciousness. It had nothing to do with anything, a couple of weeks ago, from what I understand, not a couple of weeks ago, but months ago, when I saw those actually represent her. That shit is not a balloon, because balloons don't just fly from over here and then descend into the sky like that. And that motherfucker's actually coming back. I saw something else glow. The motherfucker's about to come back, and now it looks like it's going all the way up. What the fuck is this? The reflection of my water bottle. That's Maria Tavares fucking with me. Look at this. a minute, this is... That is strange. I keep hearing Santa Muerte is gonna woke me for this, but I took another video earlier. The moon was way over there. But every time I walk up on this star, it starts to dim. And look at this here. There's no second star. And the other one was bright, mad bright. Yeah, I heard Santa Muerte supposedly doesn't want that. It's gonna fuck with me if I don't. It's craziness. That moon is. Before she had told us, so you have to have your higher to higher self attached to her for her to have any meat. She can't act alone like Baron Samedi. Who she's taken a lot of his soul consciousness through Maria Tavares, I believe. I even saw them have an agreement to take his shit, steal his shit, his ancestral money along with mine because he's part of my bloodline. I feel a lot better now because I feel like I resolved this shit. Anyways, that very morning, I had a dream of a gentleman coming and rescuing me, help I didn't see coming and greatly needed help. And trying to return back a part of my consciousness, that's a part of me that she was taking over. I remember in the middle of the night waking up and hearing Santa Muerte go, hey, like how you hear this? Like, hey, I got you, I got this. I'll take it out of your shit. I'll take it back, Sarah, this shit. We're going to take over voodoo. Just like I saw here. To God, I'm not lying. With that being said, they started doing something where along with my spirit team burying our consciousness, my spirit body, energy body, and all of that in her hell realm. I'm just going to speak the truth. Fuck it. And say what's the truth. And I've been getting, rescued from an unexpected source. So with that being, I saw some black out there just a couple of minutes ago. Like I say, to defeat her, it's a little bit more complex with Mexicans because she rules your oversoul consciousness. I saw her do this article years ago. You can use black tourmaline. I did that once to get rid of her, along with Maria Tavares. You can use 960 hertz to get rid of her too. Energy vampires, that's actually a number they cannot touch. They'll touch, I think they've touched 6,000 hertz through, what's that motherfucking name? Quetzalcoatl, 6,002 hertz. That's why you got to guard your shit, guard your energy body, guard your consciousness and all of that. But those are numbers you're not supposed to be able to touch, but affect way back. That's why they fuck with. Anyways, 960 hertz can get rid of her. Alone, 962 hertz can get your shit back. And that's extremely effective, and they can't touch that. With that being said, in Black Kyanite can get rid of her too, but I saw that Maria Tavares was able to compromise the Black Kyanite. Whereas a black tourmaline spear I brought a while back, it works too good to where you can't sense shit. You have no negativity. I had black tourmaline years ago, and I should have kept that motherfucker when I lived on the PCH if I knew what was coming was coming. This, article actually hinted at it. Turns out it was my parents stuck in the hell realm, and if I would have saw where they were, and I would have jumped in to help them, With that being said, I got to get this under control. I was distraught in the other video because it's like you can't speak your piece, you can't speak your mind. Woo, woo. So, anyways, I got the devil right here. I heard, it was saying that blocked me from seeing what was coming. That's why I pointed out the devil. Hopefully nothing bad happens, no bad repercussions. I don't get fucked with any more so than what I already have. Hopefully they don't put my connection to Satan, which was my dad up there. I saw Maria Tavares' dad acting as my saint, and like I said, I gotta fix all of this shit. Because something ain't right, and I'm not gonna let these spirits intimidate me from speaking my truth. August the 21st, the 22nd, 2022, that was that was horrible. It's like some wants me to bring that up to throw off, focus on Santa Muerte. These evil ass spirits always do that. But I'm not going to let that happen. Just try to use my frequency as best as I can to keep everything up. So with that being said, from what I understand, I had help. The Mexican oversoul consciousness. It gets a little bit tricky. So frankincense and myrrh. I actually brought some downtown. There's a couple of places. Go and look at the crystal shops. Because they sell it, for that. With that being said, I had an astral projection where I felt like I wasn't waking up. And I thought I would wake up, but I didn't. And from what I understand, I was told that the week after, Santa Muerte was planning on planting me in the realm of that sort. And I kind of felt it. Like I say, I woke up early this morning and noticed that, while I was in the tub, her blocking my ability to contact archangels and so forth and so on. It's like this shit wants you to deal with their bullshit and go along with it smoothly so you get your shit back. I refuse to do that. This is my body. We're not going to have this breakdown of entities that I'm supposed to be in charge of. We're not going to do that. So anyways, this week after that, because I believe she still has possession, they took control. She started taking control of my consciousness, which forced me to kind of ally with enemies I didn't really want to deal with, but who were helping me out as much as they can. So I resorted to working with them as a resource, and this is why it's important to have an inner spiritual team. I started having, from what I understand, she was going to set it up for me to be placed in Santa Muerte's realm so she could steal my, as well as Baron Samity's, who I saw she and a couple of other wet bucks stole a lot of his soul conscious, just raped the poor man. Just straight up raped him. The original as well as his entity attachments, the real one that existed. Use 694 hertz, 695 hertz to see. And I'm tired of, whenever I say that, I'll hear shit like, oh, they're going to be tricky with him. And we're not doing that. As a matter of fact, I plan on creating a Baron Samity mural as well as a Pazuzu, some evil motherfuckers raped. They also did the same thing with Anubis. But, I'm going to look into getting stuff to put, shit back together. So anyways, with that being said, I'm trying to think of the words. I started getting lowered consciousness-wise, which is dangerous. Your consciousness is who you are, more so than your soul. Soul-wise and everything into Santa Muerte's realm. That's why, in large part, she was stealing a lot of my soul consciousness. It was also to remove me from that August 21st, 2022, and August 22nd, 2022 timeline, which, I think she manipulating entity attachments of the Illuminati or something to do it, which she's in charge of. She started fucking with those. I saw it in the spirit plane. Roach spirits was showing me that, and my higher self was actually going to remove that shit and just, put everything back to normal. Instead of dealing with all this Santa Muerte shit, and I've explained in videos as nauseum, bitch shouldn't even exist. She a tulpa. She's a thought form. She don't have her own consciousness like Baron Samity. She never existed. And that's her followers hire the highest selves, which is all the Mexican people. Even if you ain't gave permission, she over you. Her followers act as judge, jury, and executioner, and can pull you for any one-time reason out of your body, out of your head at any point. You don't want that shit over you. And I plan on doing an article about how to get rid of her in the spirit plane tomorrow, holy. I saw that in that original timeline I keep talking about, the August 22nd, 21st, 2022 one, where I got soul swapped. She was removed from their soul consciousness and in the 3D. And that really helped a lot of people out. It made it a lot lighter for them people. I like to see positives. I like to see light. I don't like to see all that dark shit. With that being said, she started lowering my consciousness more into her realm. And I was told on Wednesday, right when them people were open, they were going to do it and consummate it and lower me into their hell realm. And on Tuesday, that's when they started the process. That's when I felt it urgent by my so-called spirit. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with that. Because Santa Muerte is lording over them. Covers that, I don't want to say cover because that's not accurate. That's a sign of respect. She's doing it to give me as a sacrifice. Ruling over them. And blocking my ability to get any real help. So anyways, I felt the need to do an emergency video. And decided, against it because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. So anyways, I wake up and it feels dead outside. There's no color, no emotion, nothing. Just stillness and deadness of reality, which is the best way I can describe it. And I don't feel connected outside of the not just the road spirits, but Anubis, but on a very superficial level. To my Godhead, I don't feel connected to anything. It just feels false. The reality feels false. And here I am. Again, I was shown by my Archangel Michael, entity attachments of these people going back to the May 1st, 2024 timeline. I heard that lady, Elsa Solana, who gave me the reading, she off camera. She knew, that I was a sacrifice or something, knew about it, and just took all the shit, going back to when I was around in the Roach realm. Was featured on the telenovelas, works as a maid, borrowed a Porsche and all that shit, and is doing well. And I was shown those timelines. So I know that's real. It ain't no figment of my imagination. And I've been getting fed on ever since. I heard another one in green went to a tarot reader, as well as the old woman here, to see what I have so that they could take it. I'm not sure about. I heard Inez Arujo or Anahanda is actually an entity attachment or an aspect of her soul consciousness. It just seems all fucking weird to where it's hard to swallow. With that being said, I've been trapped. They've been trying to pull me more and more into her hell realm, but it seems like I'm trapped in her world more ever since. I remember going back to May the 1st, 2024, not too long after. I remember 2 weeks after they were discussing stealing me and that Baron Samity's escrow money and all that woo-woo, seeing a message on the wall saying, with Santa Muerte saying, we got you. You dead, you know, but it was... With that being said, like somebody else was saying, you can't give these evil motherfuckers that power. And I need to just get my shit back and get... I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my spirit team. You know, I have a higher self, though she derived of a Jewish ancestor. And try to figure out what the fuck is going on with that. You know, it's too much entity attachment swapping and by her, and it's being set up by her, this Maria Tavares, the reader and all of that, so she can get my, you know, blessings and all of that. So she could take all of my shit. I just saw some aquamarine just now, color. So anyways, you know, today, from what I understand, I felt stuck in her realm. It's a dirtiness and a dreariness. And again, I'm going to do a blog post on how to get rid of her from the spirit plane, because anytime you have something like that where her followers, where random people can arbitrarily decide for one-time random reasons your fate, your life path, your destiny, you know, using her at their disposal and having your fate at their hands like that, you don't want that shit. Just had my consciousness taken, you know, me along with Baron Samity's and all of that, his soul consciousness kicked out by Maria Tavares. I'm going to talk later about it. I'm not gonna let this shit. Like I said, I gotta figure out what the fuck. This is just some evil shit because I was told. There was something else I wanted to say. Hold on. All right, I gotta do something about this shit. I smell pollute. That's that Inez. That's, from what I understand, that's that reader. Her soul consciousness. The one I got a reading from. Inez. I got Elsie, Aaron, Serrano, her soul consciousness, and Inez, Arujo, and Honda. You getting fucked with by that motherfucker. As soon as I mention her name. As soon as I mention her full name. This is disgusting. But anyways, like with Baron Samity's soul consciousness, I've had them steal my soul consciousness. Not only mine, turn into entity attachments, but my father's soul consciousness, my mother's recently, a couple of nights ago, my parents. I just got, had my shit taken right now by Maria Tavares, Aaron Solano's Inez soul consciousness or whatever. I'm being made to where I can't tell if it's my father's soul consciousness or her dad's, or Raul, the rapist, and all that shit. I was even made to forget my train of thought, and it was something mad important. I had something try to jump in back. It felt like my dad, but, her consciousness done mixed with mine, so I can't tell. If they can avert the worst, man, from what I understand, my spirit team was like, gave up on me. They were like, she's set for death, starting a couple of days ago, starting on Wednesday. And from what I understand, I was going to have installed as my higher to higher selves, I believe through Maria Tavares or something, taking over my consciousness. A couple of days ago, I had her remove my entity attachments, place them in her and all of that. That she was going to set it up for all them people that you saw, Zendaya, Crude Home, No Say So, or whatever, to take me over. And to act as my higher to higher selves, to where they could rape me and steal from me, not just blessings, but astral body parts, soul, energy body parts for the rest of my life. And I'm not going to tolerate that shit. I feel like every time I like do a video about them exposing the shit that they've been pulling, I get attacked. I don't like this shit. With that being said, it seemed like I'm being set up to be put in fucking in a hell realm, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And being intimidated out of speaking the truth for fear of this shit with, I don't even know if it's, like I was shown, that Inez Arujo is actually Maria Tavares, or that Rita's Erin Serrano's consciousness. And she's going to do something to throw you off. Just like if you try to, see what's going on with that, my child consciousness. I saw her attached, fucking with it, fucking with the soul consciousness and all of that. Primarily her consciousness. She's going to do something to fuck with you. And fuck you up. Not fuck you up, but, block you. Or block, Reiki readers and all of that, energy healers and all of that from seeing what's going on. I just feel this is fucking, I feel her moving entity attachments of my consciousness right now as I talk, of my soul consciousness, which is vital to my consciousness. I feel it. I'm not going to let this shit intimidate me, because that's what they want. You put yourself out there, it helps you out a lot. I feel her taking over my consciousness right now and blinding me from seeing what I need to see. If I play 694 hertz, 695 hertz frequency, she'll do something to take out my etheric walls and to blind me further from seeing what's going on. And I feel her biting my soul consciousness and all of that. Anyways, I'm not going to let that stop me from telling the truth. Yeah, I feel like this bitch done took over a lot of my fucking soul consciousness. The way in which I saw everything orchestrated. I was even told by them roach spirits a couple of days ago that that's actually her soul consciousness. And it turned out to be true from what I saw, from what I was shown. They never lie. From what I understand, Maria Tavares has in the spirit plane the Sama jar with a lot of my soul consciousness or something, or a little bit, and she fucks with it. You could use 156 hertz to break spirit jars. She's gonna probably try to use that frequency. If I call on people to use it against. I'm trying to figure out what. I can't even think in my own head anymore. With that being said, I don't like the idea of being set up to be a sacrifice for these evil motherfuckers. I mean, most chilling of all is what I saw. Like, something happened on May the 1st, 2024 at the hands of these people. I kept hearing from them. Anyways, with that being said, from what I understand, with that being said, they keep attacking child spirit guide, my child consciousness, my higher self. I'm feeling that I shouldn't. I'm being told not to say that. She's gonna do something tricky. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing. She's been attacking my higher selves to get to me primarily. And fucking with them and fucking them up. Use 446 hertz, 1715 hertz, 1714 hertz, 295 hertz. I hate this shit. 295 hertz combined with 695 hertz to get your shit back. I don't know, my shit's under control by her. There's so much manipulation going on. It's not funny, and this is dangerous because you want to get your shit back, and she's been using it to control me, my road spirits to some degree. They've been fighting it, entity attachments, my consciousness. Like I said, she's been fucking with my higher selves, a child spirit guide, child consciousness, and all of that, attacking that. Hopefully nothing bad comes of that. By me saying that, I heard she wanted to pressure me into saying that. As I say before, she's been attacking my higher selves. I got to do something about this, man. It's just, I felt that Inez removed my soul consciousness the minute I mentioned her name, her full name.